Okay, so today we go back to some instructional stuff. My videos are a mix of, sounds for modelers and more stuff to do with gear and some educational stuff. Today is educational video. Because I play different styles, I play pop, jazz, funk, and rock. I tend to teach students that cross over into these kind of different styles. They want to be more of like a session player, so to speak. And I find that sometimes the issue with crossing over from rock and pop, which has its own vocabulary and styles and techniques, and jazz is not necessarily a lack of technical knowledge of an instrument, is vocabulary, usually identified with like bebop. And there's a particular articulation, like trying to play in a way that you land on a particular chord with a particular note at a particular time. Okay, so today I want to just go through one of these studies. Which we usually I put these studies together. I play a bit, and then I transcribe what I play, and then I present this information to my students. Okay, so today is a study on autumn leaves, and I will try to play that study, break it down into my train of thought. But remember that this kind of academic way of describing phrasing and phrases and way to go from one chord to another melodically is just that. It's just a way to describe it. It's just a way to analyze it. It's not music. It's just so that you can then reproduce this kind of train of thought. Music comes first. These guys that came up with these bebop phrases, they didn't think I'm going to target the third. Or maybe they did. I don't know. We really don't know. They just had some language that they played with. And for me, you just have to kind of understand it a little bit logically, and then try to incorporate some of these ideas in your playing so that then you can grab them on the fly in any key. I've made some other videos on this topic, and I will link them in the description about jazz language and jazz snippets. Okay. Yeah, let's go straight to it. This is a study on autumn leaves. We are in the key of G major. We can see that we have first a 2-5-1, A minor, D7, G major 7, and C, so 2-5-1, 4. Those are the chords from the harmonized scale. So a lot of the information is going to be within G major, the notes of G major. And obviously you will see that a lot of those lines are made out of arpeggios and target notes. So I'm trying to go to a particular note at a particular time of my bar line. So let's start by looking at that. That is a A minor 7 arpeggio. The next 4 notes, just a little line with 9, 3, and so on. And then this is quite a little interesting thing when I'm trying to, I'm basically playing some notes that chromatically end up on the 5th of G major 7. And some of these are, you can see here, the sharp 9 and the flat 9 of D. And this last bit here is, is what a lot of people call like an encirclement. I'm basically just trying to go to that D, which is the fifth of G major 7. So I'll take an half step below, a whole step to a half step, and then the diatonic note above that. And that's quite typical of jazz. Okay, that's quite a typical bebop thing to do. Okay, and then, which is again quite a little bebop line that is quite common in terms of bebop vocabulary. Then again, I'm trying to target that note, the root of F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And again, this is F sharp minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. Then again, the same thing. I'm trying to target the third of B7 flat 9, anticipating. And then I'm playing B7 flat 9 arpeggio. And then I have from that D, again another encirclement that ends on the third, that is targeting the third of E minor 7. And then the next little line, I am considering that chord, E minor 7, as E minor 7, major 7. That little triangle is a shorthand for major 7. And I'm playing here, you can see, this is the major 7. And then I end up on the 6th, which is quite old school, going from, it's a bit of an old school move, so to speak. So let's move on to the next section. It's the same thing, same chords, 2, 5, 1, 4 in G, so A minor, D7, G major 7, C major 7, and followed by 2, 5, 1 minor to E minor. So again, same thing. This is such a cliche thing, this little, and then this little A minor lick, and then I'm targeting the flat 7 of D7. And then this B flat F D is nothing but D augmented. Okay, that B flat is an A sharp. It's an augmented. Sometimes you call things slightly differently for ease of reading. And then again another encirclement that leads to the third of G major 7. That's the half step, 2 half steps above and 1 below. And then there is some sort of G, the C major 7. Not all the notes are present, but that's roughly C major 7 arpeggio. And then this, to me, it's all E harmonic minor. Harmonic minor. And obviously there's a little add that extra note, that D natural, to target that, again, the third of B7. So and that is a diminished arpeggio or B7 flat 9. You can call it whatever you want. And again, I land on that B natural, which is the fifth of E minor 7. My guitar's gone slightly out of tune, but it doesn't matter. And you can see this is E minor 7 arpeggio, and I am encircling again the ninth in this case, which is where I land. Sometimes you want to land on what I call color notes, which are extensions. And under the ninth, if you listen to Wes Montgomery, he does that load, so that ninth for the E minor chord is quite like a pretty note, so to speak. So that's another note you want to land on sometimes, and it sounds quite jazzy instantly, especially if you do it by sliding into it. So the first bit here is an arpeggio, F minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio, and then I'm doing again. I'm targeting that D sharp, which is the third of B7, and here I skip up to that C, which is the flat 9, and these are all notes from, again, E harmonic minor. Okay, and then I play this like, it's like a E minor 9, E minor 9 arpeggio, and then I encircle that G sharp with some chromatic notes, because obviously I want to make sure that people understand, or that I'm highlighting the fact that I'm going from E minor to E7. So I want to land on that G sharp on the one of the next bar when the chord changes. But it's all about highlighting things. Okay, this should make sense on its own without the chords. Okay. And this is the flat 9. Again, you can see I'm basically playing notes from that chord, E7 flat 9. All right, let's do the page turn, and you can see that here I'm landing, again, I'm targeting that third C natural of A minor, and this is like A minor 9 from the third C. And then there is this very cliche, this is such a cliche sharp 9, flat 9 way to land on the 5 of G major 7. So you see, these are all things that, 2-5-1s that you can copy paste in a way to begin with. Obviously you don't want to become like a copycat. You want to absorb the language and then make it your own. Okay, so these are a good way. This is a good way to absorb snippets of jazz and then incorporate it so that you have a good balance between your own sensibility and the jazz vocabulary. Okay, so this is the phrase. Okay, and start from A minor 7, D7 flat 9, G major 7. And then, again, quite common, it's quite a common bebop phrase, going to C and landing on that 9th of C major 7. So let's move on and play the last few bars of this little study, this solo. This is again all E minor, A harmonic minor. And this is quite common, again, when there are parallel chords of the same type, to spell out, maybe in different direction. This is E minor 9, and this is E flat minor 9, and D minor 9. And it's exactly the same thing. So, you can even see that I'm basically just shifting the arpeggio exactly. If I want to. Of course, the first one is in a different direction. I'm going up and then down. Okay, and I land on the 5 on that C major 7. You see how important it is to land in the right place with the right note. It just gives you a sense of that's where the chord changes. Okay, and then at the end, I basically consider all of this B7 flat 9. Okay, because you can see this is a B7 root 3rd 5th flat 7, and then I have that flat 9, and then that I landed them 9th of E minor right there. And then when the chord changes, again, like I did before, I land on that G sharp because I want to make sure that people hear, or I highlight the difference between E minor 7 and E7 flat 9, and that is the 3rd. So here I will have a G natural and we'll have G sharp. And that really concludes the analysis of this study. All right, well, I hope this was of any help to you. Please leave a comment if you appreciated it or not, or you have anything to say. I always appreciate a constructive comment. And if you thought this video was of value to you, please share it. There are plenty of ways on social media, on forums, send it to a friend, whatever. And again, the easiest thing to do is to like and subscribe, which is the thing that I think helps the channel the most if you appreciate this kind of content. That's pretty much it, really. Take it easy. Bye-bye.